Oh, awesome.
Yes, we are live on Facebook as well.
Hello, hello, Facebook land.
All right. Why isn't this lowering? Perfect.
Okay, give me a second. Send request. Now accept request on two different phones. I'm going to show up in just a second, hopefully.
Perfect. Yes, there's a lot of screens, a lot of cord. There you are.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am, you
Ooh,
guys. Yay. All right, let me lower our presentation here. How is this?
perfect.
Okay. All
Great.
right. Yay, we're
We
live.
did it.
We did it. We get excited every Friday. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to episode number 67 of Window Treatment Friday Live. Hello, hello, Kimmy.
Hello, hello, Vita. And before we go any further, I just want to wish Vita a happy belated birthday. It was her birthday yesterday. So happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. It was a great birthday, and we're actually going to continue our little celebration tomorrow too. We're going up to a lake, renting a boat, going to spend the whole day on the lake. It'll be great.
That's
I know, we're
great.
super excited. And of course, I'm excited about our topic today because
Yes.
today we're talking about transom windows.
Yes, we are. So take it away.
Actually, it's you. It's all you
All
right
right.
now.
All right. So this is a project that we did for one of our retail clients here local to us in Short Hills. And with this particular project, we decided to put the valances above the transom windows to give height to the room, but the client still wanted light to come in through the transom. And she had already, previously before meeting us, installed inside mount roller shades under the transom window. So what you're seeing
Ah,
there in the divided line there, you
yeah.
can't tell, but there are roller shades, cordless roller shades that she pulls up and down from the cassette head rails there.
Yep.
So she didn't want them to go all the way up because the windows are pretty tall, but she did want privacy at the privacy level. So what
Yeah.
was great about her windows is that she had a deep enough inside mount reveal that she was able to lift and lower her shades and not completely block her view, but then still get some light. And then the valances just go into the window, into the glass, maybe about, you know, 3 or 4 inches from the top.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nicely done. So this
Yeah.
is really kind of a challenging situation. That's the
Yes.
reason why we're talking about today. Transom windows are sometimes very um, curious
Yes.
to treat. You know, you don't know, do you cover them? Do you not? Builder usually presents it to a buyer. Buyers usually think, or homeowners usually think of them as a feature in the house,
Mhm.
yet it's very difficult sometimes to discern whether we need to cover it, whether we need to go above them, below them. So you guys will see different
Very
ideas
interesting.
today of how to treat it, and so this is one of them, and this was nicely done, Kim.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so this is a project that we recently did for a lovely client in South Jersey. And here we have not just one instance
Mhm.
of transom window, but two in the same room, in the same kitchen. So first I'll talk about the drapery panel on over
Mhm.
a sliding door. So there we have the transom window over a sliding door, actually a very common occurrence, at least here in the Northeast, I think. And so just like with any other drapery panel, we try to go as high up as we possibly can.
Mhm.
And here we took it all the way to the ceiling. This was a ripple fold drape on a traverse rod with decorative fascia. We installed it at the ceiling. It was one-way draw, and when you can see when the drape is open, you can see the windows. You can exit and enter through the door, and when they wanted the privacy or close it off, you know, they just
Mhm.
moved it over. So that's how we decided to treat that particular window. And then above the kitchen sink there, so we actually wanted to showcase that half round window,
Oh, yeah.
but she needed the privacy there. So we ended up doing a woven wood Roman shade that
Mhm.
we installed right below that half round, that transom. Actually, I think I have a close up of that.
Perfect.
So that's what the close-up looks like. Now, here I can tell you a little story. We had a situation once. It was a model home, a very similar situation, and the designer wanted us to install um, at this exact level too. And we drilled, and there was no what's called Palladian shelf. There's
Hmm.
no separation between the transom
Some
window and
and
the actual window, right?
rectangle,
So
yeah.
there's nowhere to install into the way you would normally install an inside mount, right? So you go in, if you install in inside any regular window, you just go and drill underneath the dust cap and into the window. Whereas on the transom, there's no way to do that, right? So we um, drilled into the window itself. And
Hmm.
that was a big mistake. So here's, one of the things that we tell you a lot of things, you guys here, right? We give you
Yeah.
ideas, we give you inspiration, we give you education. We also share with you some of our oops, sis. This
Yeah.
was a very big oops. So what happened then is unfortunately that voided the warranty on a window.
Hmm.
So the builder had to replace the whole window, and we had to cover the replacement of that
Yeah.
window. So we made that mistake once. Let me tell you, we're never making that mistake again. Okay. So here you can see, hopefully you can see, instead of putting the brackets into the window itself, we put the brackets on the sides. Okay.
Sides.
So they
Yeah.
become like these L brackets like this. So versus ordinarily that would go like this. So we put them on the sides, and that's how we were able to install the shade. So big lesson, you guys, whenever you have a transom window with no Palladian shelf or no separation essentially between the Palladian and the square, never, ever, ever drill into whether the window is plastic or wood or metal, even though you think it's going to be totally fine, just for your sake, for God forbid, you void something.
Hmm.
Let alone, actually break something. Like in our mistake, we didn't technically break anything, it was totally fine, but the builder threw a huge fit. It was a big
Yeah.
deal for them, and we're like, we're very sorry. We didn't know. We'll cover. We ended up going through insurance on that, my installer's insurance. And yeah, never drilling into, no matter what window, no matter what material, never drilling into the window ever again. So here, you get to learn from our
Uh,
mistakes.
exactly. Nice. I know. I think Lafayette. I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, they used to actually make a palladium shelf for you.
They did. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if they do it either.
I don't know if they still do it, but
They did used to do. That's true. I
yeah.
did buy it from them once.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to.
Okay, so this next project is one where we installed. This is what we did. This project for Susie Chusett Designs, and we installed a couple pairs of stationary panels, and then woven woods under the transom window. Now, with this particular transom, there's two different ways that you could have transom windows. Where either where the upper window and the lower window divide, the molding could either completely come out and sit flush with the exterior molding of the windows to really give you a deep reveal, or it could lay very, very much flat and almost flush with the lower window, and you can do just one long continuous shade. Now, with this one, the upper window was its own little separate window, and then we had an actual, I guess, mounting space or shelf like space to install into. So instead of going covering the upper window, the client needed the privacy at the lower window. Was for a townhome,
Mm-hmm.
and those windows faced her neighbor, where the other windows were a sliding glass door and a stationary panel went out to her little yard area, and she didn't need as
Okay.
much privacy there. So we decided to just put two woven Roman shades
Mm-hmm.
on the lower, larger windows, and then just pop stationary panels in the corner, obviously above, bringing the rod up under the crown molding to really create height in the space.
Always up. Yep. Always
Yeah,
take the draperies as high as you can. This is also, I think, a really good example, Kim, of how it's okay to treat some of the windows
and
in
not
the
all of
room,
them.
but not
No,
all of them.
yeah,
Yeah. Oftentimes, our designers ask us if that's okay. How will it look? They're
yeah.
kind of concerned or worried about it. And here's an example of how it's done. Now, as a designer, you may or may not like it, and that's okay. That's totally your prerogative. But here you have an example of what it looks like.
And sometimes you have to go for function over,
Pretty.
fashion. I like to say that
Function of
the,
fashion.
the two F's when it comes to decorating a window.
There's
Um,
so many F's in this business.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
crazy.
Um, so yeah, so this client, she didn't want and need the whole woven wood on that side window there, and then it was a French door, and then they'd be at different heights, and then it was a whole discussion. So that's why we just opted to put it on the two windows
No,
that we put them on.
nicely done. All right. So this is another project we did where we had a transom window to contend with. This was for our one of our favorite designers, Rose Zaffarina, who I've mentioned here many, many times. And this was actually for her personal home.
Oh, nice.
So here you have a situation where just like in my previous picture, you have the bottom window and you have the transom up at the top, the half round. This, of course, is a much bigger window than the kitchen window was. And but here also we did the shade on the bottom part of the window, and you can see that the vaulted ceiling. So we wanted to take our drape as high as possible. I feel like we say it all the time around here. You take it as high as you can, and kind of accentuate the drama of the room, the height of the ceiling.
Hmm.
She has a pretty cool chandelier there, so we just wanted to make the whole thing pretty dramatic there for her. I think I have another picture. This is what it
Oh,
looks
very
like
nice.
kind of close up. Yeah. So these are, I wanted to mention that sometimes these are what you think when we see a finished product, right? It's you look at it and you're like, well, of course that's what, how you do it. Like you don't really kind of, you don't think otherwise, because something is already done. Yet when you look at a naked window, at the blank
Hmm.
window, sometimes it's kind of difficult to know what to do, and also how to do it. And in this particular case, whenever you have well, transom windows, but also vaulted ceilings
Hmm.
that are hard to reach when you measure, it's sometimes hard to know exactly how high you want to get your drapery rod, and also how wide you want to make it, because um, oftentimes when you measure, you don't exactly have a high ladder to do it,
No.
right? So a lot of it kind of comes with experience and knowing by how much you can clear the window and be okay.
Yeah. Now, are these panels stationary or operable? They look stationary.
They're
Yeah.
stationary.
Okay. That's what
Yep.
I
Yeah,
thought.
they're stationary panel. They're just there for the pretty.
Yeah.
And Rose gets her privacy with the woven shade.
With the woven shade underneath. Well,
Mhm.
very nicely done, Vita.
Thank you.
Okay, so this particular project is also another Susie Chusid collaboration, and this project is a couple years old. This was one that it took Luann, myself, Susie, and Billy to all come up with how we were going to treat these windows. Because
Wow.
what we have here is a corner window situation,
Mhm.
and you have just this little baby arch that goes above the center window. So they needed the privacy for the drapes around the breakfast nook. And to just put a random rod there to really cut it off would have looked very strange to just have a rod in the middle of the window. You couldn't go up higher with the drape on the left hand side because, again, then you're cutting it through with the arch. And it just proposed all these different problems. So
Wow.
Billy had the idea of let's do a cornice
Hmm.
on the one side so that this way it hides the rod, and then it became, well, what do we do above this arch? And also the ceilings were also angled in this space,
Of
so
course
you
they
were
were.
dealing
I
with
mean,
this and that. Yeah.
when
So
it rains, it pours.
exactly. So we actually just did a big template, and we just did a cornice that followed the shape of that ceiling and cut
Ah,
around. That's not wallpaper. That is a cornice.
it looks like, well, I thought it was wallpaper, so
No,
I am surprised.
nope, it is a cornice,
Wow.
and that cornice then in the corner meets the other cornice, and it goes straight out for the drapes. And then this way we were able to hide. We just did a simple superfine rod
Uh-huh.
underneath, and in the one, like I think it was like 20 inches of the bottom that you could see the rod. We just did a simple white superfine. The moldings were white. It kind of disappears when the client has the drapes open. But then when they're closed, we push the drape above the rod so that this way you wouldn't see it. Sometimes they sit underneath, but we pushed it so it was sitting above. We just adjusted the pins on the back so that way when the drapes were closed, it was very seamless and innocuous and hidden.
So when the drapes are open, can you
Mm-hmm.
and the rod is installed below the half round, is it
You,
visible?
yeah, you do see it. That's why we went with
Okay.
a white traverse rod, so that this
Okay.
way it kind of just blended in with the moldings. That was the one thing that was
I
like,
see. Okay.
listen, we're trying to give you the unicorn. We can give you almost the whole thing, maybe half the horn. We're not going to be able to give you everything because,
Invisible rod. We're
yeah,
not
yeah,
that
yeah,
good.
we're
We're
not
good.
that
We're
good.
good. We're really, really
There's
good, but we're
there's
not quite
no
magicians.
exactly. So that's how we were able to kind of get around that.
Wow, that's really cool. So before I go on to my picture next, I just wanted to mention something. I see that Emma from Pro Design just joined us. Emma, I hope you're still there because I want to give Emma a huge, huge shout out. So Kim, do you use Pro Design by
I
chance?
I don't.
Oh, you absolutely should. First of all, it's an alternative for your woven wood shades.
Okay.
Okay, so and we know how popular woven wood shades
Yes.
are, and also we know all the issues with some of the vendors that
Hmm.
produce woven wood shades, not to be mentioned right now, but um, Pro Design is a great company that also produces woven wood shades, and they have some really great patterns that we've been using for the last, I want to say maybe a year or so, Emma.
Hmm.
I think that's how long we've been with you. So, and our clients have been very happy. But the
Oh,
reason
nice.
I want to give Emma a huge shout out today is because we recently installed a big job with Pro Design, and then the customer came back and ordered one more shade for her bathroom. And we know that woven wood shades have natural imperfections, right?
Hmm.
And that's how we usually sell it to the customers. But in this particular case, there was a slight imperfection, not necessarily the fault, I think, of the vendor itself because of the natural nature of the shades, but the customer was she wasn't complaining even, but I could tell that she wasn't 100% happy.
Hmm.
And this was such a good customer of ours that I needed to make her happy. I wanted to make her happy, actually, I should say, because she gave us a lot of business. And I went to Emma and I explained the situation and I said, "Can you please make me another shade?" And guess what? She did. And she did it at her cost.
Oh,
No
very
questions, no
nice.
questions asked, no questions asked, no, no pushback. She's like, "You want it? I'll do it for you." I mean, and it was amazing to be able to work with vendors like that who can have your back, who can support you like that is just absolutely incredible. And then on top of that, my customer was like, I know that I ordered the shade without the lining before, but my customer, my husband and I never really agreed. We never really saw eye to eye, and I kind of sort of overpowered him before. But now that we've had the shade, I think we won the lining. So I went back to Emma again, and I'm like, well, since we're remaking the shade, can you please add the lining? I'm sure in the background, her inside voice, I'm sure is like, "Lady, you're driving me crazy," which I'm sure I did. But she was just an example of patience and professionalism, and it was incredible to see. Kim, nowadays when we all have such difficulties, I think, with so many vendors, and it's so, I think, hard to get really good customer service. This was a company that really stood out. So highly recommend you
Kudos
guys.
to Emma.
Pro Design. Yeah, she had no idea I was going to say that. I'm not even sure if she's even still there. uh, but yeah, Pro Design, an alternative for your woven woods. So
Okay. I'll
that's
have
my
to
list.
check them out.
Yeah, just really, really grateful for how she supported us. Okay, um, on to back to transom windows. So here we have a situation, a beautiful dining room. We have a small half round. We call it an eyebrow. I don't know if that's what you call
Hmm.
it, Kim. We call it an
Yes.
eyebrow window, right? When you have the half round, but it's not a perfect um, um, half round, like a perfect proportion.
Hmm.
So the height is much lower than the width. That's when we call it in the industry an eyebrow window. And here we did two stationary drapes. again, taking it all the way to the ceiling or to, I think, crown, maybe at this, yeah, crown molding at
Mm-hmm.
this case, in this case. And um, also using acrylic hardware in this case
Ah,
too. So I
okay.
believe I have, it's not quite a close up. I'll go back to this one. I think this picture
Nice.
is better. Yeah, so we've been using a lot of acrylic hardware with transoms, without transoms,
Yeah.
and I find it really interesting to use it specifically with transom windows because I feel like with transom, there's already a lot going on at the top of the window. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, it's specifically in this situation where you have the crown molding, then you have the window molding of the transom, then you have the inner moldings, kind of like that little sunburst happening there. So there's already a lot happening as it is. So I'm trying not to distract from the window. As much as possible by doing like another line of hardware, like if we
Yeah.
were to go with black or even like a
Chrome.
kind of chrome, right. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it as um, like,
Innocuous as possible.
and I thank you. Yes, exactly. Sort of like not make it seen.
Right.
And acrylic does, fits the bill.
Now, just side note with acrylic, acrylic is really meant for a stationary application. If you want to do it as a full operable application, I think because of how heavy the acrylic can be, it can start to bow. So to do
Hmm.
longer runs and things like that, you do need multiple brackets. So if
Hmm.
you do want it as a full operable scenario, it's really meant for rods no larger than 60 inches, really.
Very true.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a really good point, Kim. And you know what? Now thinking back, we have done functional acrylic, but my preference is to do them for stationary drapes for that very reason, because
Yeah.
they start bowing, and I'm always afraid that they're going to crack or
Yeah. No,
something
it's
happen to them.
it's
They're just not as strong as metal.
no, they're not as
Okay.
stable. They're pretty, but not as, stable.
Hmm.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, that concludes our episode on transom windows. But before we go, we have a couple of free goodies and things that we want to share. Luann wrote an ebook. So if you're new to the window treatment game, she wrote this ebook a couple years ago. 10 things to know about custom window treatments. So you could head on over to the Window Works website and get your free copy.
Mhm. And also from Vitalia Inc., we also have a free gift for you guys. It is a curated lookbook filled with inspiration and education. We call it 37 and a half window treatment ideas for you to steal, swipe, and use immediately in your next design project. And you can get yours at vitaliainc.com.
And if you are in the New Jersey and New York area and have a window treatment or a transom window problem, we would be more than happy to help you out. Or if you have awnings, please reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook at WindowWorks, or give us a call or send us an email.
And if you are in the Philadelphia area, please reach out to us if you're looking for support with your window treatments and awnings. We are a one-stop shop. We're your go-to resource for all things window treatments and awnings. So if you're looking to have someone take the hassle and the worry of window treatments off of your plate, that's exactly what we do, and support you every step of the way.
And to keep up with all things window work or all things Luann and the podcast, and to listen to the audio version of Window Treatment Friday, head on over to luannniagara.com and you can see what that hashtag smart lady is up to.
And actually, today she dropped an episode that she and I recorded
Very
a
nice.
few weeks ago. Yes, this episode is specifically for window treatment pros. It's called How to Get and Stay Organized with Your Window Treatment Business. So please give it a listen.
All right, everyone. Well, that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. And will be here every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time to go over all the window treatment topics and things of that nature. Because if it's Friday,
It is WTF Live. It's Window Treatment Friday Live. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Join us here every Friday. See you then. Bye bye.
Bye.